Hey everyone, what's up? Yeah, I've been watching a little bit of Riverdale on the way to work today, and it's quite intriguing, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I like what's really going on. I kind of saw, I think, the first 5-10 minutes of it, so it's very intriguing. I really like it, and I'm probably going to watch the rest of it later, maybe on the way home. But I do want to bring up something. Again, this is another response to Andre's review. And then another person reviewed as well. I can't think of what their YouTube channel is right now, but they did their own review. And quite honestly, there is obviously no doubt that, like I said in the last video, Riverdale may not be everything that it seems to be. You know, Riverdale, this incarnation of it, is definitely not what it seems to be, and neither do some of the people. I mean, because here's the thing, some of the characteristics they've added to the characters, some might like them, and some may be like, no, that really wasn't necessary, no, you shouldn't have done that. But I guess you could say it's what makes them interesting, it what makes them more intriguing, and I think that's what Archie Comics was kind of missing at the time, was intrigueness. Not everybody was intrigued by the Archie characters. Not everybody wanted to, read Archie Comics that much. So to be intrigued by them in this manner, with these added characteristics to already established characters is saying something. It really is, because now you're seeing sides of them that you didn't think with characters like them you would see. For example, let's take Betty for a moment. Now, Andre threw this out there, and I think I may have mentioned it myself before, but it seems Betty's character here, Betty Cooper's character, is being developed for this incarnation as having a split personality. In other words, when she dons an outfit and a disguise, she becomes someone totally different that she herself, Betty, is not aware of what her alter ego is doing. Yeah, she's not aware of it. She's not like, oh, well, I know what they're doing. I get what they're doing. I see what they did, and I'm not happy about it. No, she does not know what she's doing. The thing is, what was established in the episode that aired a couple nights ago, and I'm catching up on right now, what was established a couple nights ago, and like I said, I'm catching up on now, and even Andre pointed this out, and the other person that did a review actually talked about this as well, is she becomes a totally different person, but not to the point that, okay, she's really gotten into her character and she really wants to be convincing. No, we're talking more along the lines that it's like, because she said the line, as soon as she came in her disguise, she said Betty couldn't make it, so she sent me instead. It's like, as soon as she dons a certain wig or whatever, she becomes a totally different person. She is basically not, like I said, she's not Betty, and when she's not Betty, she's not aware of what she's doing. Not one bit. She's not even aware of her alter ego's methods. And what Andre pointed out, and other people pointed out as well, is she can have one or two things. Like I said, one of the main things that could be conveyed as to Betty having is she can have multiple personality disorder. In other words, she can have another, like I said, she can have another personality inside of her that she's unaware of, and that when that personality decides to pop up, she, Betty, blacks out, and she doesn't recall what her alter ego did. She doesn't recall what the other personality did. So characteristic added to her. To have that characteristic added to her is, very interesting to say the least, because it's like you're taking a established sweetheart character and saying, screw the sweetheart, we're going to make her more complex and confusing. Now, as intriguing as that is, other changes as well happened. There's a character that I guess Andre liked and he related to, called Chuck. And instead of being portrayed as he was in the comics, he was portrayed a lot differently. Instead of being a football player and comic book artist, all that, or inspiring comic book artist, instead Chuck is a football player, no doubt. He's also a player, if you catch my drift. And it's like, why in the world would you do this? And again, it goes back to what I said in previous videos. I think CW was cool with all the references and acknowledgments and saying, hey, you could do this and you could do that. But they also probably said, however, and this being CW, they're like, however, you can't keep everybody or everything the same. You got to do things that make this worthy of a TV 14 rating. You got to make things more intriguing, more appealing in their eyes, and that's why you had characters like Chuck being portrayed as he was in the episode a couple of nights ago. Now, like I said, getting back to Betty, that's an interesting change as well, because like I said, not once have I ever seen in any incarnation, comic book, animated or whatever, Betty, Betty may have disguised herself to look like a bad girl to kind of lure people into confessing the truth and lure them into a trap for the greater good, but never once has she ever gotten into so much into the character that she pretty much says, I guess Andre misinterpreted it, but pretty much says the line, Betty's not here anymore, she sent me instead. Something like I said, maybe he misinterpreted it, because she says that when she arrives on the scene in her disguise, and I don't know if she says it again to Veronica when she's nearly trying to drown Chuck or something like that. But here's what the real kicker was about this episode. And again, I haven't watched it fully, but here's the real kicker about the episode. When Betty dawns this split personality that not dawns, but when Betty becomes this dark version of herself, and this other person comes out as a result, when she's drowning Chuck, she starts calling him Jason. And one thing, Andre, I don't know if you're watching, you didn't reference to, was she started to kind of refer to herself during that moment as Polly Cooper. She basically, when she's putting her high heels on Jason's forehead and trying to, not Jason, but Chuck's forehead, and trying to nearly drown him, calling him Jason, and she's like, why would you do that to me? Why would you do that to Polly? Why would you do that to me? It's like, wait a minute, she just said Polly, and now she's saying herself. It's like, what's going on here? And that, I think, is going to be led into something down the line this season, to what we're going to find out, as pretty much Andre, you suspect. Because I don't think it's a long shot, but basically it's more along the lines of establishing that Alice Cooper, Betty's mom, knows a little bit more about this Polly character than she's letting on, and what she knows is that Polly and Betty are one and the same. And I think this is what's going to happen. To finish this topic off, is I think what's going to be revealed is when Betty was younger, just like with all kids, she developed a friend, she created an imaginary friend called Polly, because maybe her friends weren't around as much as she would like, so she needed someone to hang out with. So she created this imaginary friend named Polly that she would play with, hang out with, and what happened as she got older, she started to act a little bit more differently and refer to herself as Polly. And maybe her mom needed to take her to therapy and wake up and realize, hey, this Polly Cooper that you created is all in your mind. She's not real. She's all in your mind. So I'm guessing it's going to be along the lines of something like that. Like, we're going to find out that this was something that Betty created a long time ago, because her friends weren't around as much as she would hope they would. So that's what I'm thinking. Now, as far as Miss Grundy goes, we find out that next week we're going to learn the truth about her. And apparently, spoilers if you don't want to hear this, but apparently you can see it in the previews. Miss Grundy's real name is Jennifer Gibson. And basically, if you want to look at, depending on like what time frame this is in, obviously it's 2016-17. She's about 34, almost 35 years old. So basically, she's in her early 30s, just getting into her mid 30s. And we're probably going to find out a lot next week, maybe as time goes on too. There's going to be a question: did she murder Jason? Did she have something to do with it? We don't know. Was she a love interest of Jason's? And maybe Jason thought it was wrong to becoming a teacher, let's say at Riverdale, or she was becoming a teacher over at Greendale, and maybe he didn't want to start something with her because it was wrong between teacher and student. We don't know. But if they go that route, then yeah, this is a little too soon. This is like very soon. It's very surprising that you would go this route. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to find out that, one, she may be a top prime suspect, but I also think we're going to find out that she is related to Miss Grundy. Like I said last time in my last video talking about Riverdale, I have a feeling she's going to be revealed as maybe being a granddaughter, a daughter, or maybe in this case a granddaughter of Miss Grundy, who probably looked up to her grandma, and realized, I got to probably continue her legacy, and intended to do so, but then started to see but got sidetracked when she started to see all these handsome young guys like Archie and Reggie and Jason and all of them, and instead of just mainly focusing on continuing her grandma's legacy or her mom's legacy at teaching at Riverdale, she decides to her focus becomes lost, and she becomes more interested in the boys. So she becomes somewhat of a mistress, if you will, and all because she lost her focus. So that could be a possibility there. I mean, I'm not saying they wouldn't go in that direction. I wouldn't say they would do that, but it makes all the sense in the world, because she's going to get confronted next week by Archie himself, and they're going to find out the truth. Now, whether or not she ends up being because here's the thing, they show her driver's license. It shows what age she would be now, but we don't know if maybe she would have forged that driver's license to make herself seem older. And maybe she's as young, if not a little older than Archie, and maybe she's like a junior or a senior at high school, high school wise. We don't know. Maybe she'll end up having to go to school there to make up for what she did. We don't know. There's just so much going on. But we do know that she's going to be revealed as being a false Miss Grundy. We're going to find out that she is basically either the granddaughter, daughter, or just someone like a mistress that saw the attraction in other men and wanted to be around them. We're going to find that out, something. And we'll find out whether or not she knew about Jason's murder, or maybe she knows who did it. And maybe, like I said, maybe she doesn't have a connection to Jason. Maybe Maybe he was a candidate she looked at as seducing, and he didn't want to do it. Or if he did do it, maybe that's the reason he wanted to leave. It's like, I don't want people to find out that me and this false Miss Grundy, did the thing, because it's wrong. We don't know that. But here's what's even more interesting. Greendale is finally introduced as a location here in the series. So it sets up a strong possibility of Sabrina Spellman and her family showing up. So if that's the case, if that happens, you can expect as we get close to the end of this series, of the first season, because it's going to be a second season, there's no doubt. When we get close to the end of the first run of Riverdale, you're going to find, we'll probably see Sabrina get involved here. We'll probably see Sabrina show up, and maybe she'll have the answers along with the family as to what's going on. In fact, one fan I think, what was it? Can't think of the website name right now. Geek something said that he's still not ruling out the possibility of the Blossoms being involved in something supernatural. Like maybe there's something there that we don't know. Maybe because even Cheryl acknowledges after she finds out about what Jason had done when he was on the football team, maybe she didn't know her brother as well as she did. And you got to think about this. One thing that really made me curious, and I'm sure a lot of you are curious about Jason, is the way he dressed. I mean, yes, it's nice to dress. Yes, it's okay to dress nice and everything, But what if this one fan is right about the supernatural situation? What if this one fan is correct about that? Because the one thing that kept going through my mind is Jason is dressed very similar in a way. And just the fact that his face is more pale than even Cheryl's is. Something makes me wonder, what if Jason had supernatural powers? What if he was a vampire? Just think about it. We can't rule that out because this is Riverdale. Nothing's as it seems, right? So who's to say maybe the Blossoms don't have some kind of generational background or ancestry that shows that every 100 years or 1,000 years or every other generation, in this case the generation consisting, I should say, of Jason and Cheryl. What if it's every other generation a male Blossom is chosen to be the next Blossom vampire? Think about that. It would make sense. I mean, look where he was heading. Greendale, home of Sabrina, right? Make the connection there. All right, and then again, look at the facial skin. Like, why was he more whiter, more white color, more pale skin, more white skinned, if you will? I'm sorry if that came out wrong, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Than Cheryl was. The reason being is maybe he could be a vampire. Maybe he discovered he was slowly becoming a vampire. Maybe he and Cheryl, or maybe he on his own, Jason that being, found out he was going to become a vampire, knew he couldn't avoid it, and decided to run off to Greendale so he wouldn't put his sister in danger. And maybe he did it also because he probably knew his parents knew about the whole thing as well, but never told Cheryl. They never told her anything. So again, I'm not ruling that out as a possibility. I'm not ruling out, the fact that Jason could be a vampire, or was on the verge of being a vampire, and when he got to Greendale, someone knew about it, and probably either, because think about it, he was frozen, and then shot, and then frozen. I mean, what other ways can you get rid of a vampire than that? So, again, I think honestly that, again, I'm not ruling it out. I'm not saying it'll come to pass. But I truly believe that you could have had the beginnings of vampirism for Jason in the series, and that is yet to be acknowledged. Because again, why would he want to leave Riverdale? Why would he want to leave Riverdale? Why would he want to leave his sister behind? I mean, yes, he acknowledged he would contact his sister when he was safe. But again, why of all places? Why Greendale? And again, I think it's because maybe he heard about certain supernatural events happening there because of, let's say, Sabrina and her family, and probably realized that whatever's going on there might be able to help me get out of the predicament I've gotten myself into unwillingly. So I'm just thinking that might have been the case. Because again, I'm not ruling it out, and I'm not going to rule it out. Now, again, everybody's going to have their opinions because obviously this is one of those series based on a legendary property franchise that's got people watching, it's got people thinking, and it's on a network that pretty much has been known to have hit live action series adaptations of comic book franchises. So it's not surprising that Riverdale is the hit that it is. And mostly I think it's because of the mystery that Riverdale lends itself to. It's the mystery that Riverdale, it's the mystery that Riverdale lends itself to. It's the sudden twists and turns and twists and turns that are added to the setting and to the characters, as well as it's also the new characteristics added to said characters that make it intriguing and interesting. And it's got people talking and wondering from Andre Meadows of Black Nerd Comedy to Screen Junkies to this one YouTube show to people on Reddit, everywhere. It's got people talking. After the show, AfterBuzz.tv is talking about it. Everybody is talking about Riverdale and speculating of what could be. Even you got people even coming out and saying, theorizing who could be the killer, who would be the one to kill Jason, or at least, be connected to the murder in such a way. And people have made lists and the reasons why certain characters are not and why certain characters could be. One person made a list of characters that would not be, but then said at the end that there's some characters that the killer or killers have already revealed themselves, but we don't know it yet. We've already seen who they could be, we just don't know it yet. So it could be in plain sight, but we know. Now, another thing a lot of people have been wondering about is Alice Cooper, Betty's mom. Why is she so high-strung? Why is she so high-strung on stuff? And my theory on that is similar and relatable to what was always one of the main focuses, one of the main things that made the Archie comics, if not the Archie comics, very popular, and that was a love triangle. So I think that's honestly what it was. Now, some people say, Alice Cooper could have been bullied, and that could be one of the reasons she's getting back at them. I don't think so. I think one of the reasons Alice Cooper is after the Blossoms and the Lodges is because she may have been dating both fathers of Veronica and Cheryl, and was hoping to marry them so she can marry into the fortune that the fathers probably had, and her so-called best friends beat her to it. Maybe she feels betrayed and she hasn't let that go. yes, she did marry, Archie's father and and have Archie's father and have Archie. There's no doubt about that. She's moved on. I mean, not Archie, but yes, she may have married, I should say, Betty's father and had Betty and moved on, I should say, and Polly, for all we know. She may have moved on. She may have had Betty and moved on. I mean, she may have married Betty's father and moved on. But the thing is, who's to say she hasn't held a grudge since then? Who's to say she doesn't want to get back at them for what they did? Maybe she does love Betty's father, but why would she still be so angry? Wouldn't years and decades of raising kids, seeing them become friends together, kind of, kind of be on and off friends together, wouldn't that kind of, smooth things out, kind of help the parents reconcile? Obviously not. It seems there's something with Alice Cooper's mom. Maybe, again, it was a love triangle deal. She was involved in both ways, with both Cheryl's mom and eventually Cheryl's husband, Cheryl's dad. But what I'm saying is, she may have been involved in a love triangle with Cheryl's mom and eventually what would be Cheryl's dad, and then later on with Veronica's mom and eventually what would be Veronica's dad. And maybe she's upset at the fact that she knew both fathers came from rich families and she wanted to marry into it. Maybe that's what she wanted to do. Or maybe she knew about the whole vampirism deal. Maybe, she knows about the supernaturalness that the Blossoms are part of, which, and that's why she's slandering them so much, and why she's even going after the lodges, because maybe she is convinced that the lodges probably know about it too. We don't know. But my speculation, my theory, is it goes back to a love triangle involving both her, Cheryl, and eventually Cheryl's dad, and later on Veronica's mom and eventually Veronica's dad. That's what I think the whole thing is. And if she has a connection to Jason, like maybe she's the one, maybe she fell in love with Jason herself behind her husband's back, heck, and he doesn't know about it, then all I could say is holy smokes. All I can say is holy smokes, wouldn't that be a tryst? She cheated on Betty's father with Jason. And then Jason kind of had a moment of an epiphany moment, and realized that it's wrong to be involved with Betty's mom. So those are just my theories, my thoughts on what's going on with the characters in Riverdale right now. What are your theories? What do you think's going on? Do you agree with some of mine, Andre's, and anybody else's? Let me know down below, and I'll talk to y'all later.